Welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. This week we are going back into the doll's house, and by that I mean the big doll's house. And I'm going to be starting to look at the next room that I'm going to work on. So let's get on with it. And this is the next room. It's the dining room. And I've decided to go with the dining room because I want somewhere that I can decorate. And whilst I could work on the Aya rooms, which was my original plan, I want somewhere actually in this house that I can decorate for holidays, be it Halloween, Christmas, anything else that takes my fancy. I can use this space. So, as I mentioned in a previous video, I have been putting bits of furniture into various rooms to see what I've got and what I might want to use. And in this one, I've got some pieces. Now, some of these pieces were in here originally. Some, these Carver style chairs, are new. And others have come from other room. The cabinet on that side of the room, that one there, was in the music room, which was the other room on this ground floor, principal floor of the property. The cabinet that's at the back was the dining room cabinet. And then I had this little table as a sort of side table previously. Now I've put them back in because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. Obviously I want to use I want the table. I want some room at the back to possibly be able to fit in a Christmas tree of some description, because why not? And I've got to figure out what I'm doing with the door at the back here. That back wall is fake. It was one of my first adaptations of the house, but the door is real. I'm going to make a new wall, and I think I'm going to move the door over a little bit so that it's not quite so in the corner. I don't think I'm going to be using either of these cabinets in the room because, well, I'll explain this to you a bit later on the desk. I'll show you the furniture in a bit more detail. But I also need to decide how I'm going to do the room with colours. I need to build a chimney breast to go here, which will then match up eventually with the one in Grandmama's workroom, which is several floors above. So I'm just going to show you another possibility for in the room, and do excuse the fact that you've got a reflection of my hand in the mirrored cabinet at the back. It is the unfortunate side effect of having mirrored furniture with nothing in it. If there were dishes and things in there, as there should ordinarily be, it wouldn't be quite so bad. So, same room, slightly different furniture. I have moved the little side table here to the back. I would like two matching side tables, either side of the chimney breast. This would have been fairly traditional kind of idea, because things like drinks and stuff could have been kept on the side. Food that wasn't on the actual table could be kept on the sides, or they could just be used for decorative purposes, which is probably more what I am going to be using them for. But then I have replaced one mirrored cabinet with another. Now this piece, which I'll again explain to you a bit more about shortly, I think is more in fitting with the kind of look I want for the house. It looks a bit more over the top, and for reasons that I will explain, I'm a bit happier with the idea of doing stuff with that, actually adapting it to my purpose. But as I say, the table and chairs is going to stay in the room. I need to decide on a colour scheme. The green and cream colour scheme, because these walls are cream, even though they look a bit green on my camera screen as I'm filming this. They are a sort of compromise, because when I originally decorated the house, I wanted to decorate the dining room in a traditional colour for dining rooms in the United Kingdom, which is I wanted a red walls. Red is supposedly good for the digestion. This was a Victorian thing, and I thought that a rich red colour would be kind of cool, but my partner at the time poo-pooed the idea, and I ended up with green, which, whilst it is a nice colour, it's actually more of a sage green than it looks on camera. I want to change. The doll's house needs a change, so I'm going to be looking for alternatives for that, possibly going red. I'm going to be doing a lot to the pieces in here, even though there's not a lot of pieces. I do have a little lamp table that I normally fit in this corner here. If I just move the camera around, in this corner here I normally have a little lamp table, or did in the past, which just gave me another piece for decoration. That might go back, or a piece to replace it. Not necessarily the original piece. I may make my own piece to fit in with my sort of slightly different angle on it. So this is the room from one side to the other, and yeah, let's go back to the desk. Back on the desk, I've got the furniture to talk about it a bit more. Now, these two, which are the two that I'm really considering not using, it's simply because they're not quite ornate enough. Plus, this one in particular never seemed quite big enough in those rooms. The rooms on the ground floor of my doll's house are higher ceilinged. This is quite common in a lot of older British houses, that the principal rooms would have higher ceilings, and the ceilings would get lower as you went further up the house. So if the principal rooms were on what would be the ground floor, or the first floor, which is the floor above the ground floor, just to confuse any Americans who I know go from first floor at ground level, they would have higher ceilings. That, you know, this is how it's done in the big fancy houses, and it was done in the not so fancy houses to sort of say these are the posh rooms. Anyway, it just doesn't seem, this one just doesn't seem in scale. Now, it's a beautiful piece of furniture. It's wood. It's done in a nice mahogany effect, as was a lot of doll's house furniture. It possibly still is. I don't really look anymore because I don't buy a lot these days, as you know. I prefer to make things that suit my purpose. So that is probably going to go in my box that is either sell or repurpose, simply because it doesn't sort of fit anywhere within my doll's house at the moment. I'll move that one out of the way. And then there's this one, which is the unit that I was using as a principal cabinet in the dining room. Now, I've got it over to the side because I'm trying not to blind everybody with the reflection of the light. And obviously this one is mirrored at the back. It also needs a good clean because it had lots of my mini china in it, stuck in place with tacky wax, and I haven't cleaned the residue off. Can clean the residue off, it just takes a bit of time. This piece has also got some loose glass. It's actually perspex in the middle door, so I'm not going to open it too much. It does have working drawers though, and they are actually big enough to put something in, which is kind of cool. But again, it's not quite what I want anymore. It's a bit plain. I want something that's going to be a bit extravagant, which is why I'm looking at using this piece. Now this piece, unlike the previous two, is plastic. It's not wood. It's got opening doors at the bottom with little shelves, and it's got a nice open bit here. I may block that in when I come to adapt it. The doors obviously open at the top. They do open. And then I've got shelves at the top, but I've got this wonderful decorative moulding, and it seems bigger. If I put it next to this piece, it seems grander. Even though it's smaller in some respects, there's less actual shelf space. I'm not looking at it to display my entire dinner set as I was before. Although I love those pieces, I'm going to do something different with them. I don't think they're going to go in the doll's house because they were lost. They really were lost in there. So this piece was a magazine freebie. When I say a magazine, I'm talking about one of those partworks, which I don't know about whichever part of the world you're in, but you get these collections that you collect part by part, week by week, fortnight by fortnight, whatever it is. You collect a collection of something, and some of them are to build things. This one was for building a doll's house and included the furnishings. This was with part one. That's why there's a lot of them about, because part one is normally cheaper. It isn't going to cost you thousands of pounds to get it, and there's normally something to lure you in. In this case, it was this dresser piece. So because this is plastic, yes, it's going to take a bit more effort to paint it. Certainly with the back and everything, I can probably get away with some kind of spray primer. I'm not sure yet. That is going to be more difficult at the front because obviously I've got glass doors. That one doesn't want to open at the moment. I need to persuade it. And I've got the mirror at the back, which is probably reflecting my face into the camera. I haven't thought about that one. But I'm going to be changing it. So I'm going to move all the mirrors out of the way because it's annoying. Now, as I say, I've got this side table, which is a very traditional sort of piece, but I want two. So I will probably have to either buy two. I have seen this piece in a bare wood finish, which would be very handy for me. Or what I could do is, if I can get a couple of the cheap pieces, what we call the dollar store furnishings, and their sort of side table, I might actually be able to do something with them. I've got one about somewhere. I've used them several times in the past, and they might be a suitable size to adapt to the purpose. As I say, I want these as somewhere where I can put decorations. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But you know, perfectly decent wooden furniture. Not this one, not overly expensive. The two wooden cabinets were. They would have been, probably when I bought them at full price, they would have been around about £25 to £30, which, when you think we're going back 20 years, was a reasonable sum of money. And I still don't like spending that much on miniatures, unless it's something that's really, really worth it, unless it's something that is made by a true craftsman. But I do resent paying a lot of money for mass-produced rubbish. And unfortunately, there is a lot of mass-produced rubbish about at the moment. And that's sad, because a lot of it is sold online as being hand finished and things like that. And it's not. It's just the same as the cheaper people are selling it as cheap. Since this is the dining room, most important piece of furniture in there, it's got to be the table. This is a good sized miniature dining table. It seats 6. You can actually get 6 chairs round it fairly comfortably. I don't know whether you could get 6 dolls round it. I've never tried. I've never had 6 dolls at the same time. When I bought it with the 4 chairs, and that's 4 of these. And they're nice chairs. They were the chairs that sort of went with it. And I don't know if I bought the table and the chairs separately. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. But I do still sort of like them. They're not overly fancy, but they've got that sort of bit of a Queen Anne leg at the front. And they do the job admirably. If I pull the chairs in here, you can see I can get 2 chairs on each side without it looking crowded. Recently, I went out and I bought, as I said, these carver chairs. Now, they're in need of a bit of love, but I want to remove the cushions on all of them. And this one is coming off. And reupholster them. It's far easier reupholstering miniature chairs. These are better done than these ones, but there'll be over 15 years between these pieces. And as I say, there's a lot of stuff out there now that isn't great quality, but it's everywhere. So this is how it was set up in the doll's house. The carver chairs won't go under the table because of the table support that goes round underneath. But I think it works. I think that is going to make a nice piece. And then I can always put a chair off to the side so you can see the table better. So it looks like somebody's just got up. I can leave all the chairs sort of in disarray if I wanted, so it looks like some people have left the table, left a meal in progress, whatever. My intention in buying the carver chairs was to do something to these and the original chairs to tie them together. So reupholster them, reupholster the seats, give them something that matches the sort of aesthetic I'm going for in the room better. And I think I'm going to add some kind of detailing to the back of the chairs. Now, I've got ideas. I'm thinking about using some die cut pieces, but I need to get the dies out, get some things cut and see what will work. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. Probably I may show you a few ideas in this video. I don't know. It depends where the video goes. I'm also thinking that if I'm going to take the seats off, I'm going to refinish this, get rid of the mahogany and go for black. Yeah, I know everything in my doll's house is black, but I'm going for that spooky vibe, and it's really difficult to get away from black and a spooky vibe, because you're trying to capture something in quite a difficult, small area. Black looks creepy. You put some black furniture in, it's always going to look a bit creepy. But that's my plan for these anyway. While I was playing with the chairs, sort of turning them round, trying to figure out how I can make two very different chairs work together. I had to have a go at removing the seats, didn't I? And the seat cushion on the carver chair came off really, really easily. The cushion on the ordinary dining chair took a bit more effort, but again, it came off, and I am left with reasonable looking chairs that I think I can make work together. They're not identical. This one is rougher than this one, but I can make them work. And obviously I can make new seat cushions once I decide what fabric I want on the seats. Now, I've also been looking for bits that I can alter these with, and my idea is to actually do something with some die cut pieces. Now, two ideas, and I've got two lots of dies out for this purpose. The first one is bats, because I love bats, as you might have gathered from some of my previous pieces, and I figure that I can use one or the other of these to put a shaped bit on each chair. Now, I've done this before with the bats. I've cut them out, I've stacked them up, I made a shelf, and if you look at that, I could probably make something that I could fit to the existing shape of the chair quite easily using either one. I just pulled the smaller one off for now. It might be too small. I could even just go as simple as putting a bat on either side of there, so it looks like there's a bat on there. My other idea is to use a spider web motif. Now, this is a spider web die that I've got, and again, I could add a spider web, section of spider web to both the chairs. I'm not 100% sure how I do it. Obviously, I'm still thinking, but this is what my sort of plan is to use these or something else to add to the chairs and make them look that little bit more spooky. Obviously, I would be looking at adding something of the same shape to certainly the cabinet, possibly the table, and side tables when I decide what I'm doing with them. But that is sort of the direction I'm going in. Now, you might think that I've mentioned doing the dining room in red. Why would I not leave the chairs? They're sort of passable. They look like they go together. Well, obviously, they're all in different states. Some of them are a bit more worn than others, and I just want some nice new cushions. I could stitch some cushions. I could do like miniature petty point seat cushions. Will I? Probably not. I don't know. 6 cushions would take me quite some time to sew, and sewing at this scale does take a while because you can only do so much before your eyes rebel. So I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises on that, but I will be looking for something else to go on the seats. So any ideas would be welcomed. I have just been looking to see if I could find the red paint that I know I had. It doesn't appear to have made it into my craft room yet, and I'm not sure if I threw it out as it's been there forever, it's not going to be any good when I open it. What I'm actually talking about is it was one of those little test pots you get for doing your walls at home, and I bought quite a few from a store that was shutting down, and some I've used, some I haven't, and I know that I had a red that would have been perfect. However, if I haven't got it, I will just go out and buy one. I will find a suitable colour, I will buy a test pot. Simple. What I did find though was I found one of these side tables. Now these are the side table that I mentioned that is the same or very similar to one that is sold by Dollar Tree in the States. These are sold by The Range in the UK. They do have them because I actually only bought this one recently. I have some more in my stash, but never hurts to get another one when you can. And I think it cost me £1.29. I never leave them looking like this. I've used them for the base of dresses in the past, and I've seen people do some amazing things with them, but I am wondering whether two of these would make great side tables, obviously done up with better fixtures and fittings on the drawer, although I might change the drawer so it's not a 3-drawer layout, it's something else. This one does have a drawer that opens, but I've never really figured what I'm supposed to put in there. And of course this is far plainer than this piece, which has got the decorated turned legs. I don't know, it's just a thought, but that would be a really, really easy way to do my pieces, and they would be two good sized pieces to decorate in any way I saw fit. So that is just a thought that has crossed my mind. I'm going to move these out of the way, and I'm going to show you just how rough my doll's house was. Now what you've got to imagine is, as I keep stressing, I've had this doll's house for over 20 years. And when I first did it, I didn't know what I was doing. There wasn't really that much information out there. Not the way we have it now on the internet. It was magazines, books, going to classes. There were workshops, etc. at the many, many fairs that were on. But at the time, I didn't drive. I was dependent upon my then partner to take me to places, and there were always more interesting things to be done. So this is my fake wall out of the dining room, which is literally a piece of cardboard. It is a piece of cardboard painted. And as you can see, I haven't even papered it before I've painted it. Now, I suppose I thought, well, it doesn't really matter because there's going to be furniture behind it and it's only ever going to be for me. This is one of the reasons why I'm redoing the doll's house. The door doesn't stay in, but you can see it is a proper door. It is the same kind of door as is fitted in the house. And all I did was cut a slot and fit it in. Now the wall is actually thick cardboard from a box with some other bits to give me the depth I needed, because the door was slightly deeper than the cardboard. Can you see that? I hope I'm getting this in shot. So I put another layer and just shoved it in, shoved the door in, and left it to it. So yeah, my foam board walls might not be the most technical of pieces, but this is where I started, and I'm not ashamed of it. It amuses me that I thought this was acceptable, but it did. It gave me what I wanted in the doll's house, which was a false door. And it started me on this journey. So yeah, you can have a little bit of a chortle there that it is so rough, and that's why there was always something in that corner, because it really wasn't good. So I've come back to the doll's house to just show you how different it does look just by taking out even my awful false wall. As you can see, when I did this, I put some very rough paint on the back, mostly around the edges, just in case anything was visible, and left it at that. And it's just a box, really. A box with a door on that side. If you can see, you can just see through to the next bit, and then obviously that wall. But it needs more. I thoroughly think that these boxes are so boring as far as rooms go, and they definitely need more. They definitely need chimney breasts, alcoves, something. And that's why I'm adding false walls, false doors, messing things up a bit. But this is also me trying to show you how I plan my room renovations. I've done this with the 2 rooms I've completed so far, Grandmama's workroom and the attic. I have fetched pieces out, I have put things in, I have tried to figure out what I need in there, the look I want, the same as you would do if you were renovating a real room. Obviously, it's not a real room, it's a lot smaller, and it makes moving the furniture easier, because I certainly couldn't just pick up a cabinet, and this one happens to be wedged in one of the upper rooms at the moment, and just shove it against the wall. Obviously, that's not where that's going. That is approximately where I'm going to have my chimney breast, fireplace, etc. But it gives you an idea of something coming out into the room. If you need to use other things to do this, that's the way to go. And I am just going to remove that, because I'm just going to whip up the carpet as well, because I fitted all my carpets, and this one is not the same colour that it looks on screen. It looks far bluer, but if I turn it over, it's actually got a plain piece of cardstock on the back. I fitted them to cardstock on the upper floors because of fitting the wiring, and I've got a light to sort out in here as well. I don't know if I'm going to go with one of the existing ones, alter it. I really don't know. I haven't got a clue. But, oh yes, and the door does open. I don't generally have the doors open because I like keeping the rooms shut up a bit, and then it doesn't look quite so weird if this door's shut, if the door at the back is shut, because that won't open because of the way I fitted the door. And if it did open, you wouldn't see anything anyway. But yeah, so that is the planning stage of renovating this room, and we'll be working on it very, very soon. If you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope that you have, please like, comment and subscribe. It all helps my channel, and I'm very grateful for all the support that I get. You could even ring that notification bell, which will let you know when I upload a video. I try and upload a video every week, normally on a Friday, but I never promise anything because real life has a habit of getting in the way of the miniature world. But until next time, bye!